I think it is time for us to start getting this game to scroll sideways. So just so these videos don't get too long, I'm going to break it down into maybe 2 or 3 videos. Because right now, my player runs to the edge, I am stuck right there, and the only thing I can do is go backwards until I touch the flag. And what I would like to be able to do is continue on sideways. So what I have done is, just so you don't have to watch me type all this, I've gone ahead in my grass locations area, and I've just extended the ground out 3 rows further. So now I'm going out to like grid square number 39, and this is just so my player won't fall off the bottom of the screen when I eventually get it to run sideways. All right, everything else is just in the same location. I think it's kind of dumb right now that that the goal is right here and the steps are right here. Eventually, obviously, we want to move this way towards the end of the level. But for now, I think it's fine when we're testing it out. I'm just going to run and try to jump over the flag to see if I can scroll sideways. And then once I'm able to scroll sideways, I'll look at repositioning everything here in a way that makes more sense. So, all right. So the world is set for us to run, but now we can't go right. We can't go sideways. And let's think about why. And I'm going to get out of the way now. When we go to our hero has let's see, where is it? Our hero has a function called check world edges, and it can't go left past 0, and it can't go right past this constant width. And what is this constant width? Well, right, width is something we established when we set up the window of the game, the window for our game. And so we want to change this, right? Our heroes should be able to run much, much further than the width of the screen. So rather than be tied to the screen width, what we want to do is tie the hero to the width of the world. And so I'm going to add a couple more variables into this file. And I'm going to add one that says width. And I'm just going to continue in using like grid units, not pixels. And so I go from 0 to 39. So now my world width is 40 pixels wide. You may eventually want it to be bigger than that, but that's good for now because we'll be able to run back and forth without taking too long, just for testing purposes. And I'm going to make my height 9. Okay, when you do this, be real careful. If you're using a nice editor like VS Code, you'll get squiggles if the JSON's invalid, so that should be helpful. Okay, and so now that we've got the width and the height of the world in this JSON file, we've got to go to our code, and we've got to load those variables. So I'm going to go in here, and I think I'll just do it right at the top. And so I'm going to say world width equals, and we'll say data width. And then we'll just copy that. And we'll do height. And we'll say data height. Now, we want these variables to be seen by our hero. And so I'm just going to go ahead and add them to this global list. And I will say right now that I'm really starting to get uneasy about the number of global variables, all right, I'm using. But since I'm not quite sure how I want to structure everything else in my game, I'm just going to go with it for now. The danger is when you have too many global variables, you might reuse a global variable name somewhere else and not realize that you're modifying something that you shouldn't. Okay, but again, right now we're just trying to get this thing working. Later on, I might refactor and look at a way I might be able to minimize all that. All right, and so to get my hero to run sideways, I'm just going to go up here to the check world edges function. Where is it? There it is. And I'm just going to change this to world width. And we'll change this to world width as well. And so let's run this and see if I can get past that flag somehow. That's something up. This world width. Aha, I know what I did. I forgot about my grid size right here. And so when we're loading the data, right, the world width is not the number we have in the JSON file. It's not 40, and my world is not 40 pixels nines, not that wide. We've got to times it by the grid size. One of those situations where you can think I'm making mistakes on purpose just so you can see the effects of those mistakes and learn from it. So let's see if this works now. Okay, player's in the right place. I'm going to run and try to jump over this flag. And it looks like it let me keep going. And I'm holding, you can't tell what's going on right now, but I'm holding down the right arrow, and I think my player is moving to the right. And let's see if I come back. I should come on the screen and hit the flag. And there we are. Okay. So we didn't scroll sideways yet, but we have something. At least we can get over there. So the next thing I want to do is let's find out what happens when we put an enemy off the screen. So I'm going to go add one of these spike balls. And I'm just going to do it at, let's see, my screen is 16 wide. I'm just going to put it at like 20, comma, and we'll put it on the bottom edge of the screen. So this is going to be a few blocks off of the right side of the screen. And the spike ball they all start moving to the left. So I'm hoping it's going to wander onto the screen kind of down there by the flag when I run the program. Okay, so let's see if we see one spike ball on the screen here and a second one that wanders on. And so we'll run it. Okay, and that was too quick. So let me start it further away, like just to confirm that something didn't seem right there. So I'm going to put this at like 30. So it should take a few seconds for it to get onto the screen. And I'm going to run it. And as soon as I start, there it is. It immediately appeared on the edge of the screen. It's like, why did that happen? And whoops, closed out the wrong thing. Okay, and let's go back to our enemy class. And it also has a check world edges function. And it's like, oh, okay. Well, what was happening is on the very first iteration of the game loop, the enemy was off of the right edge of the screen, so we moved it right back on to the screen. And we don't want to do that. We want to make it related to the world width. And so I'm going to copy that. I'll go back here so I don't have to wait a real long time. Let's set this to 20. And so what I'm hoping now is when it spawns at 20 and the edge of my screen is 15, I should be able to wait a few seconds. In a couple seconds, the little spike ball should wander onto the screen, and then it's going to hit stuff and turn around, right, and go back off the edge of the screen, and then I'll go ahead and run sideways. Let's see if I can go catch it, lose a heart. Okay. So now we have things at least set up. And so in the next video, let's talk about how we can actually get everything on the screen to scroll when our hero runs off the screen. All right, I will talk to you later.